Dr. Mann tells Cooper exactly how Interstellar ends. He does it 3 acts early on an ice planet while trying to kill the guy. And nobody hears him because we're too busy hating the man saying it. The villain of Interstellar is the only character in the film who can see the ending from where he's standing. He predicts the Tesseract, he diagnoses Professor Brand's lie, he names the exact emotional engine that will drag Cooper into the black hole, and the film answers him by refusing to let him finish a single sentence. Now, before anything else, I am not rehabilitating Dr. Mann. He murdered Romilly with a booby-trapped robot. He cracked Cooper's helmet and left him to choke on ammonia. Cooper calls him a coward to his face, and Mann agrees 4 times.
Yes.
Then later he says,
"Don't judge me, Cooper. You were never tested like I was."
That's a direct confession. There is no defense. Mann knows what he is, that's the point. In fact, he knows what the whole movie is, and he's the only one who does. Here's the scene everyone files as simply a villain monologue. Mann is walking Cooper across the ice. He already knows he's about to smash his visor. Listen to what he says first.
The machine doesn't improvise well because you can't program a fear of death. Our survival instinct is our single greatest source of inspiration. Take you, for example, a father with a survival instinct that extends to your kids. What does research tell us is the last thing you're going to see before you die? Your children, their faces. At the moment of death, your mind's gonna push a little bit harder to survive for them.
Now, fast forward about an hour. Cooper is falling into Gargantua. He crosses the event horizon, and the structure waiting for him inside a black hole is his daughter's bedroom. Murph at every age, in every direction, at every moment of her childhood, stacked infinitely in every direction he looks. That is Mann's speech made literal. The thing he said would push Cooper's mind a little harder at the moment of his death is the exact thing Nolan shows him at the moment of his death. Mann wrote the script for the Tesseract on an ice planet, an hour of runtime before the Tesseract even existed. Just think about that. The man who cracked Cooper's helmet told him in advance what he would see in the singularity, and we don't hear it because we're too busy watching him try to kill the hero. And it happens on the ice too. Cooper is suffocating. Mann is walking away. He pulls the radio one more time.
Do you see your children? It's okay. They're right there with you.
Cooper's mind pushes harder. He claws for the transmitter. He lives for them. The prophecy plays out in real time. And when Mann sits Cooper and Amelia down to explain Professor Brand's whole strategy, watch the diagnosis land.
You never would have come here unless you believed you were going to save them. Evolution has yet to transcend that simple barrier. We can care deeply, selflessly, about those we know, but that empathy rarely extends beyond our line of sight.
Mann didn't just know the mission, he understood the engine powering it. He understood Brand better than Brand's own daughter did, and he understood Cooper better than Cooper understood himself. And on the walk to the murder spot, listen to what Mann names before he smashes the visor.
That yearning to be with other people is powerful. That emotion is at the foundation what makes us human.
He names the engine the Tesseract runs on. 90 seconds before he breaks Cooper's helmet, he tells Cooper exactly what will save his life inside a black hole. The prophet is narrating the final act of the movie while preparing to end it. Now, that's just one speech. Villains say prescient things. It's a coincidence. And that's fair. One speech is a coincidence. But 3 is a pattern. The children's speech, the ice planet callback, and the Brand diagnosis all land inside about 20 minutes of runtime, and every single one of them turns out to be a load-bearing beam for the ending. So why does the one man who sees the plot so clearly get the villain wiki page? Because there's someone else in this film doing the exact same thing he is, and the film tells you who, with one poem. Dylan Thomas, Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night, the launch, the broadcast, the deathbed, and the ice. Only 2 people recite it, Professor Brand and Dr. Mann. Not Cooper or Amelia or Murph, not Romilly or Tars, the 2 men who know the truth about Plan A and nobody else. Brand recites it at Endurance's departure, and it sounds like a war cry.
Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light.
Now, here's the recitation most people might forget. Halfway through the film, Brand's voice plays over footage of Murph working at NASA, and listen to what he welds the poem to.
We must reach far beyond our own lifespans. We must think not as individuals, but as a species. Do not go gentle into that good night.
hold on that, because Brand puts the poem directly next to think not as individuals but as a species. Now put that next to what Mann says to justify murdering Cooper. That same evolution has yet to transcend that simple barrier speech I just quoted. Same argument, but a different mouth. Brand hands down the ethics. Mann runs the program. The poem isn't only shared as recitation, it's shared as an operating system. Brand recites it a third time on his deathbed. Murph is at his bedside, grown, a physicist standing at the end of the life she gave to his equation, and Brand breaks.
Forgive me, Murph.
There's nothing to forgive.
I lied, Murph. I lied to you. There was no need for you to come back. There was no way to help us.
Murph asks the only question she has ever cared about.
Did my father know? Did he leave me?
Two diagnoses.
He dies mid-line. A grown woman is asking whether her father abandoned her, and Brand reaches for someone else's poetry and dies before he finishes the sentence. Now watch what Mann does on the ice. Cooper is choking, Mann is walking away. Before he kills his radio, he asks this.
Did Professor Brand tell you that poem before you left? Do you remember? Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage against the dying of the light.
He names Brand, he says it outright. Did Professor Brand tell you that poem? Mann is drawing the line himself. He is telling Cooper, while murdering him, that he and Brand learned the same words from the same man and carry the same lie. And here's a very important thing. The Dylan Thomas poem is not in Jonathan Nolan's original 2008 screenplay. Not at the departure or the deathbed, not on the ice. I checked. The word gentle or gently shows up about 20 times in the draft. In all 20 instances, it is a tone note, a landing, or a slope. No Dylan Thomas anywhere. Christopher Nolan added the entire villanelle structure when he rewrote the script between 2012 and 2014. He built this parallel from scratch and he gave it to exactly 2 characters. Stacked the evidence, same mentor, mission, same math, lie, and poem, same refusal to finish it. And the word mentor is doing the real work here. Brand didn't merely train Mann, he handpicked him. Amelia quotes her father on Mann twice.
You once said that Dr. Mann was the best of us.
He's remarkable. We're only here because of him.
Mann isn't a fellow Brand student. Mann is Brand's chosen envoy, launched with the ethics and the lie both preloaded. And listen to the verb tense when Mann finally tells Amelia the truth on the ice.
Amelia, your father solved his equation before I even left.
Before. Mann left Earth already knowing Plan A couldn't work. He carried the lie with him for decades. Brand and Mann didn't collapse into the same despair from opposite ends of the wormhole. They collapsed in the same room. Then one of them got on a spaceship. The name says it too. Professor Brand's first name is John. You can check the cast list or the Wikipedia. And in the original 2018 draft, where his colleague literally says, "Go ahead, John." In the final film, it's never spoken, not once. He is just Professor Brand or Dr. Brand for 2.5 hours of screen time. And the first name Nolan knows he has is surgically removed from the dialogue. Mann doesn't get one at all. He is Dr. Mann, just Dr. Mann, a title and a function. Now, let's talk about the names themselves. Mann is German for man, singular and generic, the specimen, which is exactly what Dr. Mann is in the film's architecture. He speaks about evolution, about we, about what our empathy does. He isn't a character observing humanity, rather he is humanity reduced to a name delivering the diagnosis. And Brand, also Germanic roots, means fire, flame, and burning. And it still means that in German today. English keeps it in firebrand and brand new, hot from the forge. Now, read the poem again.
Old age should burn and rave at close of day.
Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Professor Byrne, reciting a poem about burning at death, who nonetheless lets the fire go out. Look, I genuinely don't know if Nolan picked that name for that reason. The film doesn't tell us that, but he picked the poem. He added it in the rewrite, and he gave it to a character whose name means the verb the poem is commanding. And one last thing, watch where they die. Brand dies in a hospital bed, white sheets, white pillow and walls, hooked up to white machines under pale fluorescent light. Mann dies in an explosive decompression in a white spacesuit over a white ice planet with white debris scattering into space. Both men die inside whiteness. Both men die at close of day, exactly like the poem they share. Anyway, I'm not really going to oversell that one. It's a visual echo, not a smoking gun or anything, but it's there. And when you stack it with the poem, the name, the lie, and the 2018 rewrite, it stops feeling like texture and starts feeling like choreography. Mann and Brand are not really two characters in this film. They are kind of one idea split across two bodies, reciting the same poem from opposite ends of the wormhole. Now, here is something I've never seen anyone talk about. Both Professor Brand and Dr. Mann die mid-sentence. But watch how Brand gets there. At the launch, Brand recites 7 lines of the poem. Fluent, war cry cadence. He can move through the first tercet, the first quatrain, loop back to the refrain without a single break. The poem is a weapon in his mouth. On his deathbed, he can manage 4 words. And then nothing. He never finishes the line. The poem he built his whole surrender around. The title of the poem, he dies on the word gentle and can't get to what comes next. The film is tracking his collapse through the poem itself. At the start, he can weaponize it. By the end, he can barely spell it. Now, Mann's last words, as the ship fails to dock with the Endurance and the airlock blows,
There is a moment.
2 men, 2 deaths, and 2 sentences cut off at the exact same rhetorical beat. Now, maybe you're saying, well, people die mid-sentence all the time in movies. That's just how death works in movies. And in most movies, that's probably right. But Nolan is the guy who wrote Dunkirk around 3 nested timelines. He wrote Tenet around palindromes, Memento backwards. He is statistically the filmmaker least likely to let a symmetry this clean happen by accident. Just think about what he's doing. The 2 characters in Interstellar who understand the film's deepest truth, that Plan A is a lie, that humanity is almost certainly lost, that the whole mission runs on a fiction, are both silenced before they can finish their last words. The prophet on the ice, the architect in the hospital, neither one gets a final sentence. But watch who does finish his sentence. Cooper, detaching from the Endurance, falling into Gargantua. Amelia is screaming at him. She throws his own words back at him.
You told me we had enough resources for both of us.
Cooper answers with 1 line and then 1 word.
We agreed, Ray. 90%.
No rage, no poem. 1 word, complete sentence, mission accomplished. Cooper goes gentle, on purpose, and the film lets him finish the line. And here's the part that I genuinely missed on my first few rewatches. The thing Cooper goes gentle into. Back when Romilly pitches the black hole probe, listen to what he calls Gargantua.
Gargantua is an older spinning black hole. It's what we call a gentle singularity.
Gentle.
They're hardly gentle.
Cooper pushes back on the word the way you or I would. The film lets Romilly hedge. It doesn't matter. The word landed. Nolan named the object Cooper detaches into the same word Brand dies on. Brand dies on gentle. Cooper goes gentle into a gentle singularity. 1 syllable doing load-bearing work in 3 directions across 3 characters across the whole movie. The poem belongs to the liars. The silence belongs to the prophets. The clean farewell belongs to the man who stopped needing either and went gentle through the thing the film named for him. There's 1 number that runs underneath this entire film. Keep an eye on it. Early in the mission, Cooper tests the robot.
Hey, Tars, what's your honesty parameter?
90%.
90%.
Absolute honesty isn't always the most diplomatic, nor the safest form of communication with emotional beings.
The most trustworthy character in Interstellar is programmed to lie 10% of the time, and the film treats this as reasonable. Then the number shifts. It becomes Cooper and Amelia's shared shorthand. Amelia testing him.
Now what, we agreed, 90%?
A private language between 2 people learning to trust each other. And at the climax, Cooper uses their own language to lie to her and save her life. The 10% he held back was the part where he dies. Mann lied. Brand lied. Cooper lied. Tars is programmed to lie. The film isn't against lying, it's against what you do with it. Mann lied to survive. Brand lied to surrender. Cooper lied to sacrifice, and Tars, the machine, lies at a setting a human chose. So you might be thinking, well, if everyone lies, how can Brand and Mann be the villains of this interpretation? And that's the right question, but the answer is very simple. It's what the liar believes about the math behind it. Brand looked at an incomplete equation and decided the missing data was unreachable. 4 decades of performance, a planet of people working on an answer he had quietly classified as impossible. Mann looked at a dead planet and decided the only person worth saving was himself. Both men cracked at the gap between what they knew and what they could reach. Both men stopped trying. Murph, given the same math, kept fighting. She says it flat. The moment she realizes business as usual is exactly what Brand's manipulation depended on.
Brand gave up on us. I'm still trying to solve this.
That's the entire film in 2 sentences. At the very end, Cooper reboots TARS. He sets his honesty to 95%, not 100. 5% of deception is still allowed. The film never asks for total honesty from anybody. What it asks is, what is your lie in service of? Mann's lie served himself. Brand's lie served a surrender Brand performed as hope. Cooper's lie served his daughter's survival. The needle moves because the purpose moves. And that is why Mann is the prophet of this film. The film's clearest villain is the one who saw the ending, diagnosed it correctly, and still couldn't face it, who explained the Tesseract before it existed, who named the engine of human survival and then failed to run on it. Mann told Cooper exactly what would happen at the moment of his death, and then tried to make sure Cooper reached that moment alone on an ice planet instead of inside a black hole where it would matter. Mann even named the limit. He said our empathy rarely extends beyond our line of sight. That was the barrier he claimed humans couldn't hear. And then Cooper falls into a place where his daughter's bedroom is stacked infinitely in every direction he looks. The Tesseract is line of sight made impossible. Mann diagnosed the wall. Cooper walked through it. The tragedy of Dr. Mann isn't that he was wrong, he was right about almost everything. The tragedy is that he could see the shape of the ending and still couldn't put himself inside of it. Drop your theory on this one in the comments. I want to know who you think the real villain of Interstellar is, and if it's Grandpa Donald, I'm going to need a full essay. 2 men die mid-sentence in Interstellar. One is buried with honors, the other gets a wiki page. They were reciting the same poem the whole time, and the guy everybody calls the villain was the only one who could see where the movie was going. And thank you so much for watching, and click here where I prove that Cobb's totem in Inception was never the top. It was something else that held him to reality.